Jungkook breaks records. Becomes the first Korean idol to be a global brand ambassador for Rolex. Hello Army. Time stops for one man. Scene opens with the sound of a ticking watch. Visuals of city lights, oceans, the movement of trains, shadows across mountains. Then, silence. A single heartbeat. Jungkook appears on screen in a dark hallway, wearing a tailored suit and a Rolex on his wrist. In a world that never stops moving. Where seconds slip into hours. Where hours become days. And days disappear without warning. There comes a moment when the world stops. Not because of chaos. Not because of noise. But because of presence. And on this day, that presence belongs to Jeon Jungkook. Not as a singer. Not as a dancer. Not even as a global K-pop star. But as something far more rare. A symbol of time itself. Rolex, more than a watch. To understand the weight of this moment, we must first understand the symbol that is Rolex. Rolex is not simply a brand. It's not just a watchmaker. It is an institution. Founded in 1905, Rolex has never been about fashion trends. It has been about legacy. It has sat on the wrists of explorers on the summit of Everest. On the arms of scientists at the bottom of the ocean. On the hands of visionaries, thinkers, leaders. To wear a Rolex is not just to tell time. It is to make a statement. And today, that statement reads: the future is now. The future is Jungkook. Why Jungkook? Why now? Out of the thousands of global celebrities, athletes, actors, business moguls, and royalty, why did Rolex choose Jungkook? The answer lies not in his fame, but in his discipline, his precision, his quiet but unstoppable force. Jungkook is a living embodiment of Rolex's values. Excellence without compromise. He doesn't settle. Whether it's vocals, choreography, or visuals, he goes all in. Elegance through silence. Jungkook never needs to shout. His presence, like Rolex, speaks volumes through stillness. Timelessness. He transcends trends. His style, his artistry, his identity, it evolves, but never chases. Dedication to craft. Like a watchmaker perfecting every gear, Jungkook refines every detail, no matter how small, no matter how long it takes. Rolex didn't just find a face. They found a mirror, reflecting their own essence. The campaign that changed everything. The announcement didn't come with fireworks. No teasers. No countdowns. Just one post. One photograph. Jungkook. Wearing a Rolex. And the world went silent for a second. Before exploding in awe. Then came the video. A 90-second masterpiece called The Moment That Lasts. Dark background. Soft lighting. Jungkook walks toward the camera. He looks down at the Rolex on his wrist. Then directly at us. He says nothing. But the silence speaks. Because sometimes, the most powerful messages are not shouted, but felt. A global reaction. The campaign dropped, and history was made. Rolex x Jungkook trended #1 in over 35 countries. Major luxury magazines, Vogue, GQ, Elle, Forbes, declared it the most iconic collaboration of the year. The exact Rolex model Jungkook wore? Sold out worldwide in 48 hours. Rolex saw a 24% spike in online interest, the biggest in their digital history. But more than that, something intangible shifted. It was no longer just a collaboration. It was a redefinition of luxury itself. Breaking the barrier. This isn't just a win for Jungkook. This is a cultural shift. For decades, luxury brands like Rolex were guarded fortresses. Only accessible to elite Western figures. Only associated with old money, elite circles, and traditional prestige. But now, a young man from Busan, who grew up in rehearsal rooms and backstage chaos, who once sang to empty seats in dance studios, has entered the gates. No. He's remodeling the palace from within. Jungkook's appointment isn't just personal recognition. It is a powerful symbol that Asia has arrived. That K-pop is no longer foreign. It's global. It's luxury. It's the new standard. The deeper message. Why does this matter? Because this moment tells us that your origin doesn't define your ceiling. That global luxury can now speak in Korean. That excellence, in any form, be it a watch or a performance, transcends borders. Jungkook didn't inherit this role. He built it, second by second. Through sleepless nights. Through relentless practice. Through silence. Through storms. Through belief. Now, he doesn't just wear Rolex. He becomes the moment. Jungkook speaks. In a rare behind-the-scenes clip, Jungkook was asked how he felt about this role. He paused for a moment, then smiled gently. I've always admired people who respect time. Because when you respect time, you respect growth. And when Rolex chose me, I thought, maybe I did something right with my time. It was one sentence. But in that sentence lived a lifetime. Legacy in the making. Rolex chose Jungkook not for where he is, but for what he represents. The merging of tradition and innovation. The balance between silence and thunder. The power of slow, patient excellence. In an age where everything is instant, Jungkook reminds us that timelessness still has value. That something made with care, like a Rolex, can live on forever. The watch that tells his story. Jungkook is not a man who needs validation. But sometimes, history knocks at your door not to reward you, but to record you. Rolex is now a chapter in his story. But Jungkook has become a chapter in Rolex's. And that has never happened before. He is the first Korean idol in history to be named a global brand ambassador for Rolex. Not because of numbers, not because of marketing, but because of meaning. Slow motion shot of Jungkook stepping into the light, adjusting his Rolex. A gentle smile forms as the watch catches the sun. Time is not just what we count. It is what we create. It is the breath between heartbeats. The silence between applause. The stillness before history changes. And today, on a day that began like any other, one young man created a moment. A moment not forged in noise or spectacle, but in elegance, in precision, in something timeless. His name? Jeon Jungkook. The Golden Maknae. The global icon. The artist who redefined boundaries and expectations. And now, the man who stands beside a symbol known across the world. A symbol of excellence. Of prestige. Rolex. This wasn't just an endorsement. This wasn't just a photo shoot or a deal signed behind closed doors. This was a meeting of legacies. On one side, Rolex. A name etched in the chronicles of time itself. Synonymous with craftsmanship, power, and elegance. A brand worn by world leaders, legends, and visionaries. On the other side, Jungkook. Not born into privilege. Not handed a crown. But rising through raw talent, relentless work, and a soul that sings to millions. From the stages of Seoul to the billboards of Times Square. From the quiet corners of rehearsal rooms to the roar of stadiums filled with light sticks. And now, they stand together. Not just for a campaign. Not just for a photo. But for a moment that feels eternal. Jeon Jungkook didn't just wear a Rolex. He became the story behind it. He made time stop, if only for a second. And in that second, something remarkable happened. Because this wasn't just about luxury. It was about legacy. Every tick of that Rolex echoes with meaning now. Each second is a whisper of the journey Jungkook took. From a young boy with a dream, to the youngest member of the world's biggest group, to a solo artist redefining what it means to be a global star, to a man whose mere presence makes time stand still. It wasn't just about status. It wasn't just about gold and gears. It was about something deeper. Because time doesn't just pass. It tells a story. And when Jungkook wore that watch, he didn't just tell time. He told his story. A story of perseverance, of pressure and pain, of triumph and transformation. And now, generations will look back and say, that was the moment. That was when everything changed. Because while time moves forward, this moment will never come again. So remember it. Feel it. Let it live not just on your screen, but in your heart. Because Jeon Jungkook just reminded the world that time is not measured in hours or minutes, but in meaning, in legacy, in gold. Subscribe, like, comment below. Because you didn't just witness a brand collaboration. You witnessed the merging of time and talent, of history and destiny, of Jungkook and eternity.